everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. We're here with the hardcore brahmacharis tonight because they have a Friday program out at Bhakti Farm. But we have this duty to you all out there in cyberspace, wherever you are. We have a duty. I feel it deeply, and I'm completely committed to everybody, and I'm completely dedicated to reading the Bhagavatam every night in this format. Hare Krishna. Welcome aboard. This is Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. Srila Sanatana Goswami's prayer to the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Very deep, meaningful. Helps us to become more absorbed and more knowledgeable about what we're doing. We say it every day, as all of you know already. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastabdi Piyusha Sarva Volaka Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprida. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwandodita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life heir of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Man Nistadaka Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dayin Atini Chochata Kada Hanamunchagada Chinmam Premna Rit Kanta Yospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Did Vasika tell you how many pages we did today? He must have. Okay. I won't have to announce it then. Hare Krishna. It was nectar, real nectar. Okay. So, who's speaking?
Avihotra.
Avihotra is one of the 9 Yogendras, and he's the 6th or 7th.
Sixth.
6th. And he's speaking on?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Getting back into devotional service, kind of. Okay. We've reached the 46th chapter, verse, 3rd chapter of the 11th canto. And Avihotra is talking, one of the 9 Yogendras, to Maharaj Nimi, explaining to him what is yoga, karma yoga, which ends up being bhakti. Okay. By executing without attachment the regulated activities prescribed in the Vedas, offering the results of such work to the Supreme Lord, one attains the perfection of freedom from the bondage of material work. The material fruitive results offered in the revealed scriptures are not the actual goal of Vedic knowledge, but are meant for stimulating the interest of the performer. Purport. Human life is an opportunity offered by the laws of nature to the conditioned soul so that he may understand his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unfortunately, even in the human form of life, most living entities remain addicted to improving the standard of animal activities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Almost no one is interested in the actual success of life, Krishna consciousness. Shotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atmatatvam Griheshu Grihamedinam. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. Bhagavatam 2:1-2. It is stated, Parama Karuniko Veda. Vedic knowledge is supremely merciful. Parama Karuniko. Because it engages the animalistic human beings in a gradual process of purification that culminates in full consciousness of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed by the Lord Himself in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaish Chasarvayar Aham Eva Vedya. The majority of human beings are not able to suddenly give up material sense gratification, even though they understand from Vedic literature that such sense gratification causes a pernicious future effect. We have practical experience in the Western countries that when the government informed the citizens that smoking cigarettes causes lung cancer, most people were unable to give up their smoking habit. Therefore, the Vedic literature prescribes a gradual process of purification in which the conditioned soul learns to offer the results of his material activities to the Supreme Lord, thus spiritualizing those activities. Material sense gratification is based on two organs, namely the tongue for tasting and the genitals for sex life. By offering palatable food to the deity of Krishna and then enjoying the remnants as Krishna prasadam, and by accepting the rules and regulations for Vedic household life and begetting of Krishna-conscious children, one can gradually bring the full range of material activities to the platform of pure devotional service. By offering the fruits of one's ordinary activities to the Supreme Lord, one gradually understands that the Lord Himself, and not material sense gratification, is the actual goal of life. Lord Krishna warns in the Bhagavad Gita that if people are prematurely encouraged to give up household life or the sumptuous remnants of the Lord's prasadam, such artificial renunciation will have the opposite effect. There is a class of duplicitous men who misunderstand the transcendental purpose of the Vedas and falsely claim that material fruity results, such as promotion to heaven, which is offered in the Agnishtoma sacrifice, constitute the ultimate goal of the Vedas. Such foolish men have been described by Lord Krishna. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantyavipaschitaha Veda vada ratak parta nanyat astitivadinaha kamatmana swargapara janma karma palapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim prati. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Bhagavad Gita 2:42-43. To refute such a foolish understanding of the Vedic purpose, This verse uses the word nisanga, which means without attachment to material results. The actual purpose of the Vedas is arpitam ishvare, to offer everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The result is siddhim, or the perfection of life, Krishna consciousness. The words rochanartha palashruti clearly indicate that the fruitive results promised in the Vedic literature are meant to stimulate a materialistic person to have faith in the Vedic injunctions. The example is given that a child may be offered candy-covered medicine. The child becomes enthusiastic to take the medicine because of the candy coating, whereas a mature person will be enthusiastic to take the medicine itself, knowing that such medicine is meant for his real self-interest. The mature platform of Vedic understanding is mentioned in the Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad 4.4.22. Tam evam vidanu vachanena brahmana vidittisanti brahmacharyena tapasa shadaya yajnana sakhena cha. By teaching of the Vedas and by celibacy, penances, faith, and controlled eating, great brahmanas come to know the Supreme. The Supreme is Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Although the prescribed rituals of the Vedas may sometimes resemble material fruitive work, the activity is spiritualized because the result is offered to the Supreme. Candy-covered medicine and ordinary candy may appear to taste the same, but the candy-covered medicine has a therapeutic effect not found in ordinary candy. Similarly, the words Naishkarmyam injunctions will gradually be promoted to the highest perfection of life, pure love of Godhead. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pumarto Mahan. Text 47. I was listening to Gopi today and he was making the point that in the material world, because the Vedic principles regulate everything, there are so many goals and so many things to think about and so many standards, but in the spiritual world, there's only one: is Krishna happy? Therefore, it's simple, completely simple life. But all the other, everything's there, but the goal is only one. Whereas in the material world, it's spread out over so many things because of the Vedic principles to appeal to all different kinds of persons with all kinds of people, different desires and all kinds of different social positions and elevation and desires and everything. Very interesting thought. In the spiritual world, there's only one goal. It's very simple. Is Krishna happy or not? Text 47. One who desires to quickly cut the knot of false ego, which binds the spirit soul, should worship the Supreme Lord Keshava by the regulations found in Vedic literatures, such as the Tantras. Purport. The Vedic literatures contain mysterious descriptions of the absolute truth that stimulate philosophical speculation. The Vedas also offer heavenly rewards for the performance of ritualistic ceremonies. But as stated in verse 44 of this chapter, such Jnanakanda and Karmakanda sections of the Vedas are Bahulam Anushasanam, or Balanam Anushasanam. That is, because less intelligent or childish persons are addicted to mental speculation and fruitive activity, these sections of the Vedas are meant to attract such persons to take shelter of the Vedic injunctions for gradual promotion to the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. Now that the path for those who are materialistic have been described in several verses, this verse describes the process for those who are Bhigya, or learned transcendentalists. Such learned transcendentalists are advised to follow the regulated worship described in such Vaishnava tantras as Sri Narada Pancharatra, for pleasing the Supreme Lord directly. The words Upachared Devam Tantroktena Jakeshavam indicate that one should directly worship Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in many different incarnations to please his devotees. Srila Jayadev Goswami has described the pastimes of the Lord in his song, describing 10 prominent incarnations of the Personality of Godhead: Keshava, Lord Fish, Lord Tortoise, Lord Boar, Lord Nrishingadev, Lord Vamana, Lord Parashuram, Lord Ramachandra, Lord Balaram, Lord Buddha, and Lord Kalki. The words Upachared Devam indicate devotional service to the Personality of Godhead, and therefore the word Tantroktena, or injunctions of the Tantras, should be understood to indicate Vaishnava Tantras, such as Sri Narada Pancharatra, which give explicit and detailed instructions for worshipping Keshava. The Vedas are referred to by the term Nigama, and the elaborate explanation of these Nigamas is called Agama, or Tantra. When the transcendental living entity becomes perturbed by the obnoxious harassment of material bodily dualities, he becomes eager to hear from the Vedas about his transcendental situation. The word Ashu in this verse indicates that those who are eager to put a quick end to material existence and situate themselves in the eternal, blissful life of perfect knowledge should directly worship Lord Krishna, bypassing the preliminary Vedic rituals described in the previous verses. This Prabhupada gave us this. I really appreciate the point that Giriraj made last night. These are very elaborate purports and very detailed, and he was saying how Prabhupada gave all of this information in a very simple way that we could all understand. So therefore, when we hear this, it's easier for us to understand because we've heard from Prabhupada the basics in a very simple, clear way. Not simplistic, but simple. Text 48. Having obtained the mercy of his spiritual master, who reveals to the disciple the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures, the devotee should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the particular personal form of the Lord the devotee finds most attractive. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the word loved va nugraha indicates formal initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. It is stated in the Padma Purana, Shat Karma Nipuno Vipro Mantra Tantra Vishardadaha Avaishnavo Gurur Nasyad Vaishnavat Shapacho Guru. A bona fide spiritual master must be a soul surrendered at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. In the Brahma-Vaivarta Purana, it is stated, Bodha Kulashitas Tena Dauratnyam Prakati Kritam Gurur Yena Parityaktas Tena Tyakta Pura Harihi. One pollutes his own intelligence and exhibits severe weakness of character when he rejects his own spiritual master. Can I repeat that? One pollutes his own intelligence and exhibits severe weakness of character when he rejects his own spiritual master. Indeed, such a person has already rejected the Supreme Lord, Hari. The bona fide disciple should always remember that his entire understanding of Vedic knowledge is coming through the mercy of his bona fide spiritual master. If one superficially or whimsically accepts and rejects a bona fide Vaishnava spiritual master, sometimes becoming attracted to another spiritual master, one commits a Vaishnava aparad, a great offense against the devotees of the Lord. Sometimes a foolish neophyte mistakenly thinks that the relationship with the spiritual master is meant for the sense gratification of the disciple. And therefore, in the name of spiritual aspirations, such a fool gives up a bona fide Vaishnava guru. One should understand oneself to be the eternal servant of the guru. Srila Jiva Goswami, however, has quoted this verse from Narada Pancharatna. Vaishnavo padishtena mantrena nirayam brajet punaschavidina samyak grahayad Vaishnavad guroho. One who was initiated into a mantra by a non-Vaishnava must go to hell. Therefore, he should again be initiated properly according to the prescribed method by a Vaishnava guru. It is the duty of the bona fide spiritual master to examine carefully the qualification of the disciple, and the disciple should similarly approach a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, the foolish disciple and the indiscriminate guru may both be punished by the laws of nature. One should not artificially try to assimilate all of the apparently conflicting branches of the Vedic knowledge. This is such practical advice. It's really good purports. Vidaischa sarvardaham eva vedya. Conditioned souls have various conflicting natures which are engaged by apparently conflicting Vedic injunctions called pravriti and nivritti marg. But the easiest path is simply to learn the process of regularly worshipping Advaya Gyan, Lord Vishnu. All the demigods mentioned in the Vedas are paraphernalia for the service of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. Whatever exists in the visible material world is also meant to be engaged in the Lord's service. Otherwise, it has no value. If one artificially renounces material things useful in the service of the Supreme Lord, he loses his spiritual qualification of seeing everything as meant for Krishna's pleasure, and will be forced to think of material objects as meant for his own sense enjoyment. In other words, material things should be accepted or rejected according to the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one will fall down from the standard of pure devotional service. As stated in this verse, labdvanugraha acharyat. Labdvanugraha acharyat. Such discrimination can be learned when one receives the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master, who reveals to the sincere disciple the practical application of Vedic knowledge. Text 49. Now there's one point in here, in this purport, I think that needs a little bit clarification, because it is a fact that sometimes, even when one is a sincere devotee and takes initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, it's possible that one becomes inspired by someone after that as a Shiksha Guru. And the example is given, the classic example is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He took initiation, Vaishnava Diksha, from Vipina Goswami. Vipina Bihari Goswami. And later on, he became inspired by Jagannath Das Babaji, and that's who's on our altar. But the important point is, and they had a difference of opinion, because his spiritual master took the side of the devotees who concluded that Mayapur was on the other side of the river for financial purposes. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur had done tremendous research, and found and proved where Mayapur was, the original Mayapur. So anyway, but whenever it came time for Bhaktivinoda to talk about his spiritual master, he always talked about him on the highest possible level of appreciation and devotion. So he never rejected his spiritual master, never treated his spiritual master in a dismissive or disrespectful way. So that's the important thing. And sometimes if a devotee becomes inspired by someone other than his Diksha Guru, and the Diksha Guru finds out about it, then he'll actually instruct him to go and take shelter of that person. And in that case, it's bona fide, completely bona fide. So sometimes there's a tendency in our movement for everybody that happens to be in charge of you to be your Shiksha Guru, but it's not really like that. The Shiksha Guru, the term Shiksha Guru is a term that means someone who's on the level of your Diksha Guru, that you become particularly inspired by, even after sometimes you've taken Diksha Guru from someone else. And you should take permission from your Diksha Guru to do that. Like sometimes when gurus have had problems in our movement and gone away, they will actually give an instruction to their disciples to take shelter of a certain particular person or anything. Like I gave almost all the persons I initiated at the time of their initiation. What was the extra vow? As formal Shiksha Guru. Yeah. So all of the people who initiated me know that when I leave my body, because I'm definitely going to leave before they do. Well, I don't know that for sure, but it's likely that their faith in their, because I noticed that when Krishna Maharaj left, that he didn't give that because it was like shockingly, sudden. So he didn't give that kind of instruction, and some of his disciples, shook. They didn't know where to go. They didn't, because he was very strong and very authoritative spiritual master. I just thought I'd clear that up because it sounds like, it's a blasphemy if you go to someone else. But there are conditions in which you can without causing Vaishnava Aparad. Okay. Text 49. After cleansing oneself, purifying the body by pranayama, Buddha Shuddhi, and other processes, and marking the body with sacred tilak for protection, one should sit in front of the deity and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Pranayama is the authorized Vedic process for controlling the air within the body. Similarly, Bhuta Shuddhi is a process for purifying the body. The word Shuchi means that one should be internally and externally clean. Shuchi means that one should perform activities only for the pleasure. If somehow or other one can remember the Supreme Lord constantly by chanting and hearing His holy name, one will come to the pure stage of life as described in this Vedic mantra. Om apavitrat pavitro va sarvavastam gato piba yak smaret pundarikaksham sa baya bhyantara shuchihi. Garuda Purana 2.1, 47, 52. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that although one may mark the body with sacred tilak, perform mudras, and chant mantras, if one is thinking within his mind of material sense gratification, bogus. Therefore, the word shuchi here indicates that one should worship the Lord in a favorable frame of mind, considering the Lord to be sacred and oneself to be an insignificant servant of the Lord. Those who are not favorably inclined toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not like to worship the deity in the temple, and they discourage people from going to the temple of the Lord by saying that since the Lord is omnipresent, there is no need to do so. Such envious persons prefer the gymnastic exercises of Hatha Yoga or the Raja Yoga system. But statements by the Lord himself, such as Vasudeva Sarvamiti and Mamikam Sharanam Brajam, indicate that in mature transcendental realization, one understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of everything, and therefore the only worshipable object. Thus, the devotees who worship the deity of the Lord, according to the Pancharatra system, are not attracted by any yoga process except Bhakti Yoga. Text 50 and 51. The devotee should gather whatever ingredients for worshipping the deity are available, make ready the offerings, the ground, his mind, and the deity, sprinkle his sitting place with water for purification, and prepare the bathing water and other paraphernalia. The devotee should then place the deity in his proper place, both physically and within his own mind, concentrate his attention, and mark the deity's heart and other parts of the body with tilak. Then he should offer worship with the appropriate mantra. Purport. Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhagavad. I forgot that this verse was here. Anyway. Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavad Grayam Indriyahi Sevan Mukhe Hijivado Swayam Eva Spurdat Yadaha. Padma Purana. The Absolute Truth can never be understood by ordinary material sense perception. The conditioned souls engrossed in the vain pursuit of material sense gratification are completely indifferent to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their materially conditioned are always impure and disturbed by the endless flow of material dualities, such as prosperity and poverty, winter and summer, fame and infamy, youth and old age. Such disturbed conditioned souls cannot recognize the personal presence of the Absolute Truth in the form of the deity. The Lord's incarnation as Archa Avatara, the deity form, is a special manifestation of the Lord's mercy towards the materialistic or neophyte devotees who are still under the influence of material designations. They are unable to perceive the Lord in his eternal abode, and therefore the Lord descends as the deity form, manifesting the Prakash incarnations and even the Swayam Prakash, or the original form of the Lord. The Prakash incarnations exhibit various pastimes within this world, whereas Swayam Prakash, the Lord's original form, is the source of all avatars. To one who sincerely worships the deity manifests himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are most unfortunate cannot even recognize the Supreme Lord in his merciful deity expansion. They consider the deity an ordinary material object, but by surrendering at the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master who is a pure devotee of the Lord, one can learn to worship the deity as mentioned in this verse, and thus revive one's lost relationship with the Lord. One who considers such transcendental deity worship to be equivalent to idol worship is grossly covered by the three modes of material nature. A person wearing rose-colored glasses sees the entire world to be rose-colored. Similarly, those unfortunate living entities who are thickly covered by the material modes of nature see everything, including the Supreme Lord, as material due to their polluted vision. Text 52 and 53. One should worship the deity along with each of the limbs of his transcendental body, his weapons, such as Sudarshan Chakra, his other bodily features, and his personal associates. One should worship each of these transcendental aspects of the Lord by his own mantra, with offerings of water to wash the feet, scented water to wash the mouth, water for bathing, fine clothing and ornaments, fragrant oils, valuable necklaces, unbroken barley corns, flower garlands, incense, and lamps. Having thus completed the worship in all its aspects, in accordance with the prescribed regulations, one should then honor the deity of Lord Hari with prayers and offer obeisances to him by bowing down. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami has mentioned that a akshata, or unbroken barley corns, mentioned in verse 53, are to be used in decorating the deity with tilak, not in the actual puja. Nakshatar acharya, Lord Vishnu should not be worshipped with unbroken barley corns, and Lord Shiva should not be worshipped with ketaki flowers. It's a special kind of flower with this stamen that sticks out. Text 54, usually red. The worshipper should become fully absorbed in meditating upon himself as an eternal servant of the Lord, and should thus perfectly worship the deity, remembering that the deity is also situated within his heart. Then he should take the remnants of the deity's paraphernalia, such as flower garlands, upon his head, and respectfully put the deity back in his own place, thus concluding the worship. Purport. The word tanmayam in this verse is significant. One who is purified by worshipping the deity form of the Lord can understand that he, the worshipper, is an eternal servant of the Lord and is qualitatively one with the Lord, being like a tiny spark of the original fire, the personality of Godhead. Srila Madhvacharya has stated in this regard, Vishnor Brityuham ityeva sada syad bhagavan mayaha naivaham Vishnur asmiti Vishnu sarveshvaro yajaha. One should think, I am an eternal servant of Vishnu, and therefore, because I am his eternal part and parcel, I am eternally one with him. But I am not Vishnu himself, because Vishnu is the supreme controller of everything. The basic principle of deity worship is that one must understand oneself to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. One who is addicted to sexual gratification, foolishly identifying himself with the external material body, cannot change his conception of himself from that of an enjoyer to that of the enjoyed. Such a person interprets the word tanmayam to mean that the worshipper is himself, also the worshipable object. Sri Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has written in his Durga that ahangraho pas, worshipping oneself as the supreme, is a gross misidentification of one's own self with the Supreme, who is actually one's eternal shelter. The six Goswamis have repeatedly clarified within the Prakrita Sahaja community have become influenced. But the intelligent persons within the Prakrita Sahaja community become influenced by the that's why I read that wrong, sorry. But unintelligent persons within the Prakrita Sahaja community ideas of the Mayavadi philosophers, and thus display the deluded misconception that the worshipper becomes the supreme shelter. Such a hallucination is an aparad, an offense against the Lord. Therefore, the word tanmaya in this verse should not be offensively understood to mean that the worshipper becomes equal to his eternal worshipable object. Text 55. Thus, the worshipper of the Supreme Lord, Godhead, is all-pervading and should worship him through his presence in fire, the sun, water, and other elements, in the heart of the guest one receives in one's home, and also in one's own heart achieve liberation. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 11th Canto, 3rd Chapter, Liberation from the Illusory Energy. That was a long chapter. It's been a long time since we've clapped, right? Right. Nabi Yogendra ki jai. King Nimi ki philosophy of the Bhagavat philosophy ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, so we're a little early left. Yeah, we still got some time. Shall we keep going? What do you think? Huh? Why not? Okay. We learned a lot. So detailed, comprehensive, pervading, expansive instructions on the basics. Very nice. Okay. Chapter 4. Dramila. Dramila explains the incarnations of Godhead to King Nimi. The various forms of the past, present, and future incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, and the various transcendental characteristics of each of these avatars constitute the subject matter of this chapter. Even if it were ever possible to count all the particles of dust on the face of the earth, any attempt to count all the innumerable transcendental qualities of the unlimited Lord Hari, the foundation of all potencies, would be simply madness. The personality of Godhead, Narayana, created the universe out of the 5 elements manufactured by his own Maya, entered into that universe in the form of the Supersoul, and became known as the Purusha Avatar. He effects the work of creation in the mode of passion through the personal form of Brahma, of protection in the mode of goodness through the form of the Lord of Sacrifice, Vishnu, and of annihilation in the mode of ignorance through the form of Rudra. Incarnating in the form of Narayana, the greatest of sages, from the womb of Murti, the daughter of Daksha and wife of Dharma, he preached by his own practical demonstration the science of Naishkarmyam. When Cupid, Kandarpa, and his hosts were sent to Badrik Ashram by King Indra, who had become fearful and envious at seeing the austerities of Lord Narayana, that best of sages, welcomed Cupid as an honored guest. The pacified Cupid then offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Narayana Rishi. By the order of the sage, Cupid returned from there with Urvashi, and upon presenting himself before Indra, related to him everything that had taken place. The personality of Godhead Lord Vishnu has appeared in various partial incarnations for the benefit of the entire world, and has given instructions in spiritual knowledge in the forms of Hamsa, Dattatreya, Sanaka, and the other Kumara brothers, and Rishabhadev. In the form of Hayagriva, he killed the demon Madhu and saved all the Vedas. In the avatar of Matsya, the fish, he protected both the earth and Satyavrata Muni. In the incarnation of Varaha, the boar, he delivered the earth and destroyed Hiranyaksha. In that of Kurma, the tortoise, he carried Mandara mountain upon his back, and in the form of Sri Hari, he gave liberation to the king of the elephants. The Lord delivered the Valakilyas, who had been trapped in the water in a cow's hoofprints. He delivered Indra from the reaction of murdering a Brahmana, and he delivered the wives of the demigods from imprisonment in the palaces of the demoniac asuras. In the avatar of Nrsimha, he killed Hiranyakashipu. In the reign of each Manu, he kills the demons, fulfills the needs of the demigods, and protects all the planetary systems. In the form of Vamana, the dwarf Brahmana boy, he cheated Bali Maharaj. In the form of Parashuram, he rid the earth of Kshatriyas 21 times. And in the form of Sri Rama, he brought the ocean under his submission and killed Ravana. Descending into the Yadu dynasty, He removed the burden of the earth in the form of Buddha by his argumentative preaching in defiance of the Vedas. He bewildered the demons who were unqualified to perform sacrifices. And at the end of Kali Yuga, he will destroy the Shudra kings in his form of Kalki. In this way, the innumerable appearances and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, are described. That's the summary. Text 1. King Nimi said, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into the material world by his internal potency and according to his own desire. Therefore, please tell us about the various pastimes Lord Hari has performed in the past, is performing now, and will perform in this world in the future in his various incarnations." Purport. In this 4th chapter, the son of Jayanti, Drumila, will address King Nimi. The 48th verse of the 3rd chapter stated, "Murtya vimatayat mana." One should worship the particular form of the Lord most attractive to oneself. Similarly, it was stated in the previous chapter, "Stavai stutva named darim." One should bow down to Lord Hari and after glorifying him with prayers. Thus it is assumed that the worshipper has knowledge of the Supreme Lord's transcendental qualities and pastimes in order to execute the process of worship previously described. King Nimi, therefore, is eagerly inquiring about the various incarnations of the Supreme Lord so that I did it again. I rubbed my finger by mistake like this, and it went whew. Which verse are we on? 1 or 2?
1.
Yeah, King Nimi therefore is eagerly inquiring about the various incarnations of the Supreme Lord so that he can ascertain which particular form of the Lord is most suitable for his personal worship. It is understood that King Nimi is a Vaishnava, or devotee, who is trying to advance in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is important to note in this regard that the word abhimata murti, meaning one's most desirable form, does not indicate that one may concoct a form of the Lord by one's own whim. Advaitam achyutam anadam anantarupam. All the forms of the Supreme Lord are anadim, or eternal. Thus there is no question of concocting a form, because such a concoction would be adi, or the origin of the concocted forms. Abhimata murti means that among the eternal forms of the Lord, one should select that form which most inspires one's love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such love cannot be imitated, but it is automatically aroused when one follows the prescribed rules and regulations given by the bona fide spiritual master and submissively hears these descriptions of Srimad-Bhagavatam. From Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I think we'll stop there. We'd still have another 20 minutes we can discuss. But I just wanted to make the first point as we start our open mic discussions, that Bhaktisiddhanta described the concept of incidental hearing. He called it incidental hearing. And it means that if you keep reading the Bhagavatam, that's what it said right at the end here, and submissively hears these descriptions of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So if you keep on hearing the Bhagavatam and following the 4 regulator principles and chanting your prescribed number of rounds given by your spiritual master after you've taken the vow, and you do those things strictly, and you keep hearing the Bhagavatam, The Gita also, the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's all part of the same system. Then, and do the deity worship. Then, by that hearing again and again and again and again, by the purifying process of that bhakti yoga, the heart becomes, in a natural and special way, attracted to a particular form of the Lord. And it may change as we go up in our devotional attainment also. A good example of this is Indradumna Maharaj. He was sold out to Lord Nrsingadev. He always worshipped Lord Nrsingadev. He never thought about it, he never heard, and nothing about only Lord Nrsingadev. But he gradually, by that process, and by preaching and hearing and chanting, he gradually came to Radha and Krishna. Shivaram Maharaj started worshipping Gaura-Nitai. The first deity he got, beautiful little, you've seen his Gaura-Nitai deities. Beautiful. I was there in the room when he got them the first time in Mayapur. Very intense, very intense. And he worshipped them himself perfectly for a long time. And they preached and studied and started the, New Brajadam community, and was a Sankirtan leader in England and so in Chicago, and did all this to it. And it led him to eventually Radha Shyamsundar, who are now his Ishtadev. So that's the process. The goal of the process is to awaken your love for Krishna. And it's said here, I think this is a very important point, it can't be imitated. Such love can't be. Abhimata Murti means that among the eternal forms of the Lord, one should select that form which most inspires one's love for the Supreme Personality of God. But it's not that you can just do that by your mind. Oh, I like this. Look at the way the thing is. I can. It's not like that. It's not that you can concoct in your mind. It has to be. It has to come out. Okay, I'll shut up now. I need to conserve my voice. I'm going to go for 100 tomorrow. Okay, gentlemen, the ball is in your court. I have stopped talking to preserve my voice for tomorrow morning. Okay, Prana.
I have a question. Sometimes we have, like you said, you distinguish between just someone who's like a manager or someone who's in charge of your department or temple or what have you, and we'll also just give you instructions about devotional service. But they're not necessarily your shiksha guru.
Can be. It's not. It's not like. It's not external. It's not that person's in that position and therefore he's your shiksha guru. But there may be someone who's qualified to do that, who's in that position, who naturally becomes your shiksha guru. I mean, there's three kinds of guru. So there's Bhartma Pradarshika guru, the one who points you to the right place. Like you're out there and doing Sankirtan, you're definitely Bhartma Pradarshika guru. Definitely. You're giving Krishna in the form of Prabhupada's books. And that means you're the Bhartma Pradarshika guru of that person. And therefore, sometimes when you bring new people back, if they come having met you, and they come here, you're the one they want to talk to. That's a fact. I mean, sometimes you'll bring them to meet, but actually they want to talk to you because you're the one that they met, and my voice is going. Hare Krishna. I can feel it. So, you're right. It isn't necessarily that a person's in a formal position and therefore he's your formal Shiksha Guru. On the other hand, there's no harm in giving proper respect to the persons who are in a position. You're the ashram leader. There's no harm in the devotees giving you the proper respect. Or someone may be like Rasika is kind of like an older, respectable person, and he knows a lot, and he's very renounced. He's been brahmachari for like God knows how many years. I haven't actually asked him, but he's deep, and so therefore it's natural to give respect to that person. So the vow that you take at the time of your diksha puts that diksha guru in a different category in a sense. It's the same category. It's the manifestation of Krishna speaking to you, but he has a different function. He's the one that represents. He accepts your reverence, and there needs to be a little distance. That's why I don't initiate very many disciples, because it's very difficult for people to relate to me like that. Whenever Giri Raj Maharaj comes in the room, it looks like it's different, But still, yeah, the Diksha Guru has a different function. And the Shiksha Guru, the way it's described in the Shastra, in the Rasa Shastra, the way it's described is this: that the Diksha Guru is more in the realm of Vaidhi, and the Shiksha Guru is more in the realm of Rag, or even not of Raga, but of more intimate topics. There's less formality, more easier for confidential exchange, inquiry, revelation of the heart. That's what happened with Bhakti Vinod and Jagannath Das Babaji.
Sometimes in ISKCON we hear this term mentor. What meaning does that have?
It's not a position. It's not. What did they said? It's not due to an ecclesiastical convention that you accept somebody as guru. Usually, what that means is a representative of a spiritual master, or the structure that's been created by the spiritual master to help him train people. And in our case, the system is kind of developed through different spiritual masters who saw the need, who got a certain number of disciples and understood that they couldn't be with their disciples, and especially in cases where there's a temple where there's a whole bunch of them, and then naturally they've developed a hierarchy of devotees and structure that designated. Like Prabhupada, when he was here, after he got to a certain number of disciples, then he would ask us to go to his GBC or temple presidents. And at that time, the temple president was much more respected in an elevated position. And then he made sannyasis. That was before he made sannyasis. So those kinds of relationships developed also by force of circumstances. As the number of disciples got bigger and the number of temples grew, then he needed to have, his representatives to pass down the teachings, not just to tell you how to wash the floor or, how to worship, but the teachings, and the counsel and the shelter that we need to stay fixed and overcome the mental platform and all the, material energy that pushes and pulls us and all those things. That's why the Vani is extremely important, more than the Vapu. The Vani is more important than the Vapu. And of course, and ultimately, our movement is unique because it's the only Vaishnava institution that is, international and organized in such a way that there's these two lines of authority. There's the Prabhupada's authority comes down through the GBC, down to the temple presidents and in the different projects and departments and different. And then there's his disciples who are initiating, and their disciples who are initiating. It's coming down in both those lines at the same time. So that's a unique. It's never happened before. We're in uncharted territory. Therefore, it's natural. I mean, when devotees talk about the difficulties that have happened since Prabhupada left, I don't take it so seriously because there's nothing else that could have happened. First of all, when Prabhupada left, I was 31 years old. And I had been a devotee for 5 years. And no one could be a devotee more than 12 years when Prabhupada left because Prabhupada didn't start initiating until 10 years. Nobody could have been an initiated disciple more than 10 years because he had his first initiations in 66 and he left in 76. Therefore, when he left, devotees had to take over being guru, as well as GBC, as well as all these other things, having been a devotee for no more than 10 years. How many years have you been a devotee?
7.
7? You're getting there. 3 years, you can, take over a part of the world. That's what we had to do. So to get that level of responsibility when we were so young and so inexperienced in so many things. That's why this whole issue about the editing of the books it really is based on ignorance, actually. That there's so much, what's the word, issue being made out of it, It's only natural. The devotees who first started editing the books didn't know anything. They didn't know Sanskrit, they didn't know the culture, they didn't know the philosophy. That's why, and they couldn't understand Prabhupada's diction, his accents, and therefore they would, when they heard, Pitri Loka, they came up with Planet of the Trees. All kinds of things like that. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of things that needed to be corrected. But the devotees, they were potent. The books were potent. It's not that I made us devotees, even though all those things were there. I read right through it. Yes, Pitri Loka, right. Didn't make any difference to us at that point in time, But as devotees become more mature, as the devotees learn the philosophy, they learn Sanskrit, Jayadvaita Maharaj is so expert. I know, I worked with him for 5 years, intimately for 5 years, learning how to edit and editing the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And the level of his expertise is amazing. That's why when we had those kids here, and one of them brought up the point about the books, and I brought out that verse right away, Madhya 25:43, one letter wrong, one letter mistake, and it changed the whole meaning and made Prabhupada look like a fool. And they want to keep it like that, because that's the original. It means they don't understand what editing is, and they don't understand very deeply what Prabhupada intended, and what the original books are the books that came off the boat. That's it. Those are the original books. The only books that were straight Prabhupada without any editing. And then why did he set up an editing team? Why did he set up an editing department? And why did the editors change over time? Why did some leave? Why did he express full faith in Jayadvaita Maharaj? Because he stuck it out through thick and thin, and he put his nose to the grindstone and learned the thing, if you listen to his morning walks, and especially his room conversation when Jayadvaita Maharaj happened to be there, you know, as time went by, and if you listen to his lectures all the way through, chronologically, then you'll hear these things. Of course, we have the advantage of having been there some of the time at least. So, yeah, so this word, okay, he's your mentor, so therefore he's your guru, or he's your shiksha guru. It's not like that. It's not like a mechanical, you know, thing. But at the same time, the person who is the temple president should be more advanced than others and should be accepted as an authority. And the gurus should cooperate with them and teach their disciples to be cooperative with them. And then, if there's some, you know, not discrepancy, but some difference of opinion or dispute or whatever that needs to be dealt with, then those two lines of authority should get together, decide, and then it should be reconciled. Then you have a very strong society. I mean, you guys are doing a really important thing, because you don't have a varnashram system unless you have four ashrams. Now this community now has 4 ashrams. Did you notice it? You get the sannyasi, I'm resident, I'm here. And you've got Risika is vanaprasth, a little older and more. Then you guys are brahmacharis, and you got the grahastas, and that's the way it is. In human society, most are the grahastas. So this is a very important thing what we're doing here. It may not seem like a big thing, but it's actually extremely important. If we can continue to do this and stay for the long haul and build it, you know, get 30 brahmacharis in that temple room. Huh? Imagine if there were 30 brahmacharis every morning in the temple room with roaring kirtan. What would it do to this community? It would really change it. Sometimes when you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, and he'll be in a room, having a room conversation, and because it's a small building or something, you can hear the kirtan in the background. And those kirtans were like, those are evening kirtans, you know, and there were like 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, you know, Westerners just full-throated having kirtan, and it was like, there's nothing like it. I don't know how I got off that tangent. It was really went off on a tangent. 7:30. I think I should stop because I really need to do the deed. I think we're going to have to re-record chapter 7 of the Adi Leela. It's a little bit rough. He's learning because he's going through it very carefully now. And I knew this. I knew that there was a couple of chapters, 2 or 3 chapters that maybe would have to be redone. Because when we first did the recording, it was not so, you know, I was having to do everything myself, and it was not possible. And that chapter is, you know, huge, you know, purports with extremely difficult sentences to read with Sanskrit and Bengali and this and that and the other thing. Antileela's, it's easier, much easier, because mainly Leela and there's not so much, you know, analytical stuff. It's just all nectar, sweet, short verses with a lot of dialogue and, you know, expressions of loving exchange and relationship. It's just, it's out of this world. Beautiful, sweet. deep. But it was confirmed that I'm going to do the Gita also. I think when I get done with the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'll do the Gita next, because it won't take so long. We can get that done, and then we'll start in the Bhagavatam in audiobook form. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your astute attention and for being here, committing yourselves to this process. It's really important. I mean, that's what Prabhupada did with it. He inspired us about how important it was, what we were doing. You know, and you get inspired by that. Become serious. The role you're playing is extremely important. Student stage. Okay? Thank you, all of you out in cyberspace, for being with us again. And tomorrow, Saturday, still we'll have 6 o'clock hearing of the Bhagavatam tomorrow night, right here in the live studios, Sri Radha Lane. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Srimad-Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. 11th Canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Navayogendras ki jai. See you tomorrow night. Hari Bol.